back in 2002, I decided that we needed to do something about this. It wasn't just good enough to know about what's going on in the world or to complain about it and do more research and listen to speakers at conferences and the old, eat, meet, and retreat philosophy that we followed for so many years. A lot of patriotic organizations have wonderful banquets and good speakers, but nothing really changed. And I realized finally the reason nothing really changed is because we didn't have power. We, and I say we, those of us who wanted individual liberty and freedom and did not like this big government Goliath that was being created around us, we had a mindset which is, no, we don't want to have power ourselves. That's the problem. I mean, we don't want to control people's lives. So we backed out of politics. We wouldn't go into organizational work. Politics, no, I hate politicians. It's all dirty work and so forth. And we just backed away and let the collectivists who love that kind of work take over. And suddenly dawned on me, that's why we're losing. We didn't have the power. So I created an organization called Freedom Force International. And the primary thing that makes that different, well, one of the two primary things, is that its goal is not just to educate, but to come back into power. To take the governmental power of our system and put it back into the hands of people who have no agenda except the preservation of their liberties. And there's a way to do that. And Freedom Force International is dedicated to that structure and creating that international network. It's beginning to happen already. We have been getting some powerful reports from our people out in the field saying that they've been successful in running for central committee in the political party of their choice. They're running for office. Some of them are getting elected to office and so forth. It's a slow beginning, but this is a new thought for freedom-loving people. It's not a new thought for those who want to control our lives, but those who want to be left alone have never wanted to do that before. So this is beginning to happen. This is basically what Freedom Force International is all about. I said there were two things that made it different. The other thing is that we have a creed. We know what we believe in. It's not just what we're against, but we also know what we believe in. Because I think that if we don't have our own agenda, positive agenda, we cannot build a better world. And history is so full of examples of people who have been downtrodden, and then when they can't take it anymore, they've risen up, and at great cost in blood and treasure, they may have been able to overthrow some tyrannical regime, and then they wake up and find out that a year or two later, they've replaced it with one just as bad. And we've seen that happen, of course, in American politics, where we rise up against something we despise, but then, oops, we got one just like it. And the reason for that is because while it's easy to know what we don't want and what we don't like, it's not so easy to know what we do want, what we do like. And so we felt it was necessary to create what we call the Creed of Freedom. And this is a statement of political philosophy. It's a very short statement. It's written, printed on one piece of paper, and it simply spells out what we believe and what we think is the proper basis for a true system for the state to be. We call it a protectorate, not a government, but a protectorate. A government is supposed to govern, right? The very word is a curve in the track right there. If we say we want to limit our government, which is the way we used to say it, we want limited government, we've already lost the debate, because what we're really saying is that we want to be governed, but in a limited way. We want limited control over our lives. However, if we just change words, it'll cause a different thinking. So we want a protectorate. We don't want this state to govern us. What we want it to do is to protect us, to protect our lives, liberty, and property. Nothing more. Now we call that a protectorate, and we get rid of this word called government, and it causes us to think of the true purpose of this thing we call the state. And so that's an important part also. We have a creed, we know what we believe in, and we put those two things together. We've got a positive view of a better way, and we have a mechanism for infiltrating, and that's the word the enemy uses, infiltrating. I don't like it, but going into organizations that we should have been into all along. We should have been in politics. We should have been on the school boards. We should have been in the city councils. We should have been in all these places. Go back into those areas and take them back. That's what the mission of Freedom Force International is all about.